Let's take a look at inquiry and processes for social studies. So when you see inquiry and processes for this exam, that means research basically. Okay, and so for the social studies part, the part that people struggle with the most are the types of graphs. So we've got three of them that we're going to look at. So the first one is bar graph. Okay, and we just need to really understand the very basics. So when you're doing a bar graphs are best when comparing revenue or profit for different time periods. Okay, so it'll tend to be like whatever. Here's quarter one, here's quarter two, here's quarter three, right? And then you have like that, that, and that, and over here is your revenue. That's a 100 million, let's say. There's 400. Things are looking good for this company, right? Things are moving up, right? And so that's what your bar graph is, right? Comparing revenue different time periods. Almost for sure that almost exactly is going to be the question that you'll receive, right? Okay, so there's that one out of the way. That's our bar graph. And next, line graph. Okay, and we just need to know the difference. Bar graph, line graph, and then we're going to do pie chart. Those are really the three that you're going to be responsible for. Okay, so with a line graphs are really better if we're comparing results from the same time period in more than one group. So let's say we're comparing like temperatures over the course of the week. So you got days here, right, 1, day 3, day 5, and then over here we have temperature, and then the line graph will look, like that. You'll have, your little data points here. And so that's what a line graph, that's what it looks like. But really, they're not probably just going to draw a line graph for you and say, is this a line graph or a bar graph or a pie chart? I think they're pretty sure you're going to know that. They're going to care much more about if you know why you would use one or the other. So if it was your decision, you would know. And so again, line graph, better if comparing results, same time period, more than one group or characteristic. Okay, and then we got one more, and that will be the pie chart. Okay, so for pie chart, right, looks something like that, and you want to be thinking part to whole. If you see that terminology, part to whole, that's pie chart, right? They're probably not going to draw it out for you, but sorry, it takes so long to write like this. But if you see the terminology part to whole in your mind, that should mean pie chart. So like what would be an example of that? Maybe percentages of age groups within a corporation or team, right? And so, half of them are under 40, let's say, and 55 and under there, over 55 here, right? There's your basic pie chart, right? And again, these are all the under 40, under 55, over 55, right? Those are all the parts that make up this whole. And so that's part to whole for pie chart. Okay, so those are really the three that you're going to be responsible for. Nothing really too hard about it. What I just told you is all you have to know. You don't need to know any more detail than that. Okay. All right, and we'll go back. Okay, and then there's a couple other things, right? So there's empirical evidence, inquiry-based learning, and Bloom's taxonomy. So let's go over each of those. All right, so for empirical evidence, Really what you're thinking here is empirical evidence can be either qualitative or quantitative. Right? A lot of times it's both. I can't spell. Empirical evidence can be qualitative or quantitative or both. And that's going to be, you could easily imagine that's your multiple choice question. Empirical evidence is A, qualitative, B, quantitative, C, qualitative and quantitative, D, some stupid answer that nobody answers. And that's your question. So that's what empirical evidence is, especially in social studies. Quantitative refers to data that is measurable, usually like in numbers or charts. Qualitative measures are certainly less measurable, but they look for meaning within the numbers that the quantitative research provides. So that's kind of how they end up working together. Okay. Inquiry-based learning. I'd like this to be a little bigger. Possible. There we go. All right, inquiry-based learning. So your main thing here is that inquiry-based learning is a wide investigation and not narrow in scope. The kind of things that inquiry-based learning focuses on are students formulating questions, thinking independently, and gathering research from a wide variety of materials. Right, so there you go. That could easily be, a multiple choice question. Which of the following is not true? Those three that we just said: formulating questions, thinking independently, gathering research from a wide variety. Those all apply to inquiry-based learning. And then there'd be some other answer, which would be the one that doesn't apply. And then finally, Bloom's taxonomy. So Bloom's taxonomy is important to know. It relates to essential questions for learning. Understanding facts is really a pretty simple form of learning, and that's a lot of what standardized tests like this one are really about. While being able to apply those facts is really more advanced. And so within Bloom's taxonomy, let me see if I can just draw it out for you. As far as what it looks like, it's quite famous. Does not really, again, like apply to this exam all that much. It's like this. It's like a big triangle. And so, right, so as you start at the bottom, it's kind of like your most basic form of knowledge, which is remembering. Again, just because it's basic doesn't mean it's not challenging, right? But that's kind of like the lower level. And then connected with remembering is understanding, right? Remembering and understanding are really very similar. And we start, doing stuff that's requires more skill set, right? Is being able to apply what you have remembered and understood, right? So being able to apply a concept to a situation, right? And then we really get up higher, we have analyze. And then finally evaluate, right? So if you have somebody, like say they're an executive in business or something like that, right, is remembering and understanding is not a big part of their job, right? But being able to look at different situations, analyze and evaluate what the company should focus on, where they should put their money, is really what their job is all about. And I just ran out of room, but the very top part is somebody who actually creates something. So there's your Bloom's taxonomy, right? Really what you want to, if you got a Bloom's taxonomy, it would just being aware that at the top of the taxonomy, I doubt you'd be asked about the create part, is to be able to analyze and evaluate. And at the lower end, towards the bottom of the taxonomy, is understanding and remembering. So that's everything we got for inquiry and processes for social studies.